My name is Tom, and I'm an alcoholic. In an effort to improve outreach to members in the armed services who may be struggling with an alcohol problem, we are collecting interviews from current AA members serving in the U.S. and Canadian Armed Forces to share the experience and strength and hope they have found in Alcoholics Anonymous.
I am a lieutenant in the Navy, and I've been in for about 4 years now, just over. I'm a recovered alcoholic and a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I haven't had a drink since March 17th, 2019. I started drinking early and thought that by joining the military, that would relieve me of my drug problem and discipline the rest of my behavior. It did not. When I was going through flight school in Pensacola, I began to see my drinking habit grow unmanageable. I ended up getting sober in a Southern church full of retired geriatrics on the weekend after my first and only pink sheet. I went on to graduate top of my class in flight school. I've been shot off the correct side of an aircraft carrier and am now stationed out in California. Getting and staying sober in AA has done incredible things for my career, which I have learned is a secondary priority in my life. AA has given me the tools to restructure my way of thinking, to have a community of people who work the steps all over the country and in many other countries, and to develop my presence of self without the need to alter my state of mind. Drinking was always around, even during other substances, and I never could quit. Temperance was never an option for me. In my active addiction, I was completely unable to bring my head out from the sand, and in my line of work, take the 10,000-foot view rather than the 1,000-foot view. Both my parents were sober. My dad was sober very briefly, and my mom is 34 years sober, has been a member of AA since I was born and a little bit before that. And I'm what they call a 13th step kid. So I knew that this program existed. I always figured that I would find it eventually. And I knew that I needed help when I just gave up. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I knew that the one place that I could go before going to see a chaplain or medical service corps was AA. So I did it a little free range. I went to an AA meeting when I woke up not wearing a whole lot of clothes on a friend's couch in Pensacola. My last Google search was AA meetings near me, and I figured that was a pretty good sign. So I grew up around the rooms. Because we lived across the street from a church, there were always really wacky people in my kitchen drinking coffee. They were just zany people. It was a cast of characters to grow up around. My parents were no different. They were very spiritual members of AA, and my impression was that these were people who had really funny backstories often, cursed a lot, smoked a lot, drank a lot of coffee, but I never knew much about the drinking. All I saw was the recovery in process. I saw how happy they were. I met their families. I grew up with their families. I fly an airplane with a lot of secret stuff on it. I'm lucky enough to keep a very specific security clearance. So I was trying to keep both sides secret, the Navy side and the AA side. So kind of living two lives. And then I moved up to Norfolk, and Norfolk, Virginia is a really great Navy town full of young sailors. And the population there, the sober Navy population there, was incredible. There were aviators like me. There were special forces guys. There were yeomen and master chief petty officers. I saw my skipper in a meeting at one point, the XO before him, and a whole lot of senior chiefs. And it was a really comforting experience to meet other people with bad haircuts in the rooms, other people who were nervous about, hey, what are you doing up here in Norfolk? That question scared some people, and it certainly scared me. There was a question when I was getting my security clearance, which is, have you ever sought outside help for an addiction for a substance abuse problem? And the answer was yes. I have sought outside help, and I've chosen to continue to answer no, because none of the people in AA are trained. And is that trained help? Is that professional help? There's a spirit of that question, and there's the letter of that question. And I've struggled with that lie for a while, but ultimately, I think that there's a boundary to that line, and I don't believe that I've crossed it. Neither have others, because we have a disease, and that disease should not preclude us from doing our jobs, although the question seems to certainly say so. After my solo flight, I go into the ready room. There's a cooler full of beer, and you get thrown a beer, and you get sprayed with champagne, and that's sort of the norm. And on my solo flight, I had just crossed over into my first year of sobriety. Being in a group of naval aviators, we drink a lot. We drink a lot. I drank a lot. And being in those situations now, I quietly recuse myself. But an Irish goodbye is one of the good traits these days, rather than being the life of the party. My job performance has been fantastic. I learned how to manage my time, speak to others in a kind and not condescending way. And I learned how to prioritize, which I was flailing for any kind of traction before the program. And now it's nice. Things have gotten much more simple. My great detractor from the program is that I move around so much. In my 3.5, almost 4 years of sobriety, I've moved 3 times. That does not help with setting roots in the program. I like my sponsor be able to look into the eye when I lie to him. So I always have my sponsor in the location where I'm at. So every time I move, I get a new sponsor. Every time I move to a new location, I absolutely binge meetings, and I binge different meetings, and I try and find my meeting, and then I binge that meeting until they're exhausted of me. And I have found that that's what works. And being able to learn from new perspectives and new geographies has been a wonderful benefit of my program. In my experience, aviators are prone to having 6 too many, if not 7. And those lucky few of us who get sober are better crew members for it. If you are feeling alone, like somebody who has to keep their sobriety a secret from the Navy and the Navy a secret from the rooms, know that many drunks have come before you and have traveled the road of happy destiny. There is no TTP, there is no checklist to navigate the steps or missteps you'll have to take, but just know it won't get better after a drink. I encourage you to find a community to be open with, as there are many special interest groups of military and non-military aviators. Military personnel abound in the rooms, and sober civilian AAs who look at you quizzically when you explain what you do, then proceed to show you the right way into sobriety. The fabric of this AA community, which is far-reaching and made of many different interwoven threads, will help to protect you and keep you sober as long as you shut up and keep knitting. Fall in love with the program, and the rest will be simple.
Lieutenant, thank you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us today.
The views and opinions expressed during this podcast are those of the individuals. No one person speaks for AA as a whole. For more information about AA, please visit our website at aa.org. To find a meeting near you or a meeting online, download the Meeting Guide app on your mobile device.